How did Detroit manage to rise, fall and rise again? Explore the incredible journey of this iconic city. Once dubbed the Motor City, Detroit became the pulsing heart of the American automotive industry, driving not just cars off the assembly line, but also profound cultural shifts across the country. This city, with its gritty resilience and innovative spirit, mirrored the very machines it produced, dynamic, powerful, and at times unpredictable. Now, journey back to the early 20th century, where Detroit's story of innovation and prosperity begins. Imagine streets bustling with activity, factories roaring with production. Welcome to Detroit during its boom years, a period when the city truly lived up to its nickname, the Motor City. At the heart of this industrial explosion was the birth of the automotive industry, spearheaded by visionaries like Henry Ford, who revolutionized manufacturing with the introduction of the assembly line. This innovation not only slashed the cost of production, but also dramatically reduced the price of automobiles, making them accessible to the average American. General Motors and Chrysler were quick to follow suit, and together, these big three automakers turned Detroit into an economic powerhouse. The city's population soared, nearly tripling in the first half of the 20th century. This demographic explosion brought a vibrant cultural scene to life, with jazz clubs, Art Deco buildings, and bustling markets painting a picture of prosperity and dynamism. The era was marked by a sense of unstoppable progress, but as with all great tales, a turning point awaited Detroit. The 1960s brought change, not all of it welcome. Detroit, a city once bustling with industry and optimism, found itself at a crossroads marred by deep-seated social and racial tensions. The vibrant hum of factory machinery slowly drowned out by the growing discord among its inhabitants. The year 1967 marked a particularly dark chapter in the city's history. The riots that erupted were among the most violent and destructive in United States history, reflecting the boiling over of long-standing grievances in the African American community against systemic inequalities and police brutality. The smoke that rose above the city was a grim signal of deeper troubles brewing beneath the surface. Meanwhile, the automobile industry, the backbone of Detroit's economy, began to show signs of strain. The oil crisis of the 70s, coupled with increasing competition from overseas automakers, started to erode the dominance of American car manufacturers. Factories that once operated round the clock began to cut back hours and eventually jobs. The seeds of decline were sown, leading to profound consequences for the city. As factories closed, the heart of the city began to beat slower. Detroit, once a bustling metropolis fueled by the roaring engines of the automotive industry, began to witness a seismic shift as the late 20th century wore on. The city, which had been a beacon of industrial prosperity, found itself grappling with a series of economic punches that knocked the wind out of its sails. One of the most palpable signs of distress was the massive job losses. As automation advanced and production moved overseas, thousands of workers who had relied on stable manufacturing jobs were suddenly left in the lurch. These job losses rippled outwards, affecting everything from local businesses to public services. The population of Detroit, which had peaked in the mid-20th century, started to dwindle at an alarming rate. Between the 1970s and the end of the 20th century, the city lost over a quarter of its population. This exodus wasn't just a number, it was a mass departure of skills, potential, and economic vitality. As residents moved out, crime moved in. The rising crime rates were both a symptom and a cause of urban decay, creating a vicious cycle that seemed almost impossible to break. Neighborhoods that once thrummed with the life of community gatherings and children playing were now marred by the blight of abandoned homes and overgrown lots. Infrastructural deterioration added another layer to the city's woes. Roads, bridges, and public buildings fell into disrepair, making the landscape of Detroit resemble something from a post-apocalyptic film rather than a once thriving industrial giant. The financial crisis of 2008 dealt another heavy blow, exacerbating existing problems and pushing the city to the brink. By 2013, unable to meet its financial obligations, Detroit filed for bankruptcy, the largest city in U.S. history to do so. Detroit hit rock bottom, but as history shows us, the only way from there is up. The city down is not a city out. In the tapestry of Detroit's history, the threads of resilience and rebirth are woven with the hands of its people. As the city faced its challenges, a vibrant grassroots movement began to stir, breathing new life into the once stagnant streets. Local entrepreneurs, fueled by a spirit of innovation, started small businesses, turning empty lots into bustling markets and abandoned buildings into dynamic co-working spaces. Amidst this resurgence, Detroit also saw an influx of investment in technology and green industries. Visionaries and venture capitalists alike recognized the potential in the city's vast industrial landscape, transforming it into hubs of tech startups and renewable energy enterprises. This pivot not only helped in diversifying the economy, but also positioned Detroit as a forward-thinking player in the modern world. But the rebirth of Detroit wasn't confined to economic shifts alone. The arts and culture scene exploded with energy, becoming a cornerstone of the city's new chapter. Murals, music, and museums began to tell the story of a city reborn, each brushstroke and note playing a part in reviving community pride and cohesion. Community projects also played a critical role. Urban gardens and public spaces sprouted up, offering residents not just beauty and leisure, but also a sense of ownership and connection to their environment. Bit by bit, Detroit began crafting a new identity, rooted in resilience and innovation. Walk through today's Detroit, and you'll feel a vibe of revival and creativity. The Motor City, once a symbol of industrial decline, is now buzzing with energy and innovation. Downtown and Midtown Detroit are at the heart of this transformation. These areas, once marred by empty storefronts and silent streets, now thrive with bustling cafes, tech startups, and vibrant art scenes. The rejuvenation of the automotive industry has been particularly striking. Detroit, the historic home of American auto manufacturing, is steering into the future with a renewed focus on electric vehicles. This shift is not just about adapting to new technologies, but is a robust response to the global demand for sustainable transportation solutions. Major automakers, once the backbone of the city's economy, are reinvesting billions to retrofit their factories and retrain their workforce, propelling Detroit back onto the global stage. Public services have seen significant upgrades as well. The city's commitment to improving infrastructure and public transportation is visible. New bike lanes and refurbished parks are just the tip of the iceberg. Initiatives to enhance public safety and education are revitalizing neighborhoods and restoring confidence among residents. Moreover, Detroit's cultural fabric is richer than ever. From the Detroit Institute of Arts to grassroots galleries, the city pulses with artistic expressions that narrate its past struggles and hopes for the future. Detroit's story is far from over, but its trajectory is promising. As it rebuilds, it redefines resilience, showing that even the toughest cities can reimagine and reinvent themselves. Every city has its unique challenges and triumphs, yet Detroit's story holds universal lessons. Detroit's journey through peaks and troughs teaches us the critical importance of adaptability in an ever-changing world. This city, once the booming heart of America's automotive industry, faced severe decline as economic tides turned. Yet it was adaptability that fueled its resurgence. By embracing new industries and technologies, from information technology to green energy, Detroit began rewriting its narrative from decay to dynamism. Another vital lesson from Detroit's story is the power of community involvement. Revitalization efforts were not solely top-down, they were deeply rooted in the community. Local artists, entrepreneurs, and residents played a crucial role. This collective action fostered a sense of ownership and responsibility towards the city's future, turning bystanders into active participants in Detroit's rebirth. Proactive leadership also stands out as a cornerstone of Detroit's comeback. Leaders who anticipated changes, engaged with their communities, and sought innovative solutions were instrumental. Their forward-thinking approach not only addressed immediate issues, but also laid the groundwork for sustainable growth. Reflecting on these points, it becomes clear how other cities facing similar challenges might learn from Detroit. Whether tackling economic shifts, managing technological disruptions, or fostering community spirit, the lessons are there, woven into the fabric of Detroit's streets and stories. What lessons can other cities learn from Detroit's story? Only time will tell how those lessons will shape the urban landscapes of tomorrow. Detroit's journey through prosperity, adversity and revival is a testament to the enduring spirit of its people. In this exploration, we've traversed the dynamic timeline of Detroit, from its booming industrial age that sculpted the modern American landscape to the sharp declines that tested the mettle of its community. We've seen how the city, once a titan of industry, faced towering challenges from economic downturns to social upheavals. But like the phoenix from the ashes, Detroit began to write a new chapter. Initiatives to revive its economy and restore its cultural vitality sprang forth, powered by the resilience and innovation of its citizens. Today, Detroit stands not merely as a city that got back on its feet, but as one that's striding forward with renewed vigor. As we've seen, the cycle of rise, fall, and rise again is not just a story of economic metrics, but of human spirit and community. Every downturn carries the whispers of an upturn. As Detroit continues to evolve, it reminds us that in the heart of challenges lie the seeds of opportunity.